for... Okay, we are live. Yeah. Should I start or we should wait for the viewers?
You should start, then invite me for the introduction, and then let's just keep asking the questions and I'll answer them.
Okay, perfect.
You can take the questions as well. You'll be taking the question of the audience, okay?
Okay, perfect. So we are going live. We have some viewers. Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. On behalf of Scholarships Corner page, we are presenting you this IELTS Preparatory Crash Course, which will be of total 5 days, starting from today till 8th of May, same time. Thank you for tuning in. And the idea of this crash course is to help the students in the time of quarantine so that they can utilize their time in a good way. Our today's session is about 40 to 50 minutes, and our today's session is session number 1, Introduction to IELTS. I am your host, Hima Zafar, and with me we have our wonderful guest speaker, Miss Sana Khattak. I would like to invite Sana and would like to want to say, can you please introduce yourself, Sana, so that we can start our session after that?
Assalamu alaikum, Hema, and assalamu alaikum everyone else who's watching this broadcast right now. So my name is Sana Khattak and I'm the founder of Language House. Language House is your one-stop language learning platform, and it's all digital. So you have courses like grammar, basic English, language fluency, business communication, organizational communication, all the way to the top-notch courses like language and power relations. So everything will be there. The platform is right now in the process of making, but the courses I've mentioned, they are already live. You can go to our page, which is languagehouse.pk, and it's same Instagram, over Facebook, over our website. So you'll be finding these courses, and these are online. The good thing is that you'll have a real-time teacher support with whichever course you are choosing. So if you're making any mistakes in your language, you'll have a real-time teacher be telling you that these are your mistakes and you'll need to correct them as well. So this is about Language House, and today's session is the first session of a 5-lecture series, discussion series in fact, about IELTS. And we plan to discuss the basics of IELTS and how to start preparation or registration, etc. for IELTS in this session. So I'll be answering Hima's question, and audience is most welcome to type their questions in the comments. I'll be answering them as well. If you have anything that you need to ask, please mention them in the comments, and we'll be asking them either in the middle of the section or at the end, we'll be also answering that.
Okay, thank you so much, Sana, for introducing yourself. So now we shall start our session. Before that, I would like to convey my message to audience that please type in the cities you are live in from. If you are from any part of the world or any city of Pakistan, we would love to know that our audience is watching us from where. Okay, and we will be taking your questions in last 20 minutes, or you can just type your questions in the comments section below. We would be answering them after we are done with the basics of the IELTS today. Okay, so starting our session, Sana, my first question is, what is IELTS and what is the right type of IELTS for me or for our audience?
Yes, so many people get confused with that. They think that it is some kind of course. IELTS is not a course. It is basically a test, International English Language Testing System. And if you're applying abroad for a job, immigration, or some degree or a course, a serious postgraduate course, so you might be required to do IELTS. There are 3 major types of IELTS. First is IELTS General, and usually it is required for immigration or for diplomas like photography or non-academic purposes. And second is IELTS Academic. IELTS Academic is required for academic degrees, research, or research-oriented jobs. That is for scholarships as well. You need to have IELTS Academic. And the third type is IELTS Life Skills. That is required when you're applying as a spouse visa. So IELTS Life Skills just has two modules, listening and speaking, and it's quite easier. Also, the fee is less as compared to IELTS Academic or IELTS General. To be frank and honest, you cannot decide on your own what type of IELTS you need. It is dictated by your purpose. If you are applying for immigration, so you have to have an IELTS General. And if you're applying for a scholarship or for some academic purpose, for a degree or something like that, or a research oriented job, then you need to have an academic IELTS. So it's always mentioned in the requirements of your visa that what type of IELTS you need to have. You cannot decide it on your own. It will be told by the organization that is sponsoring your visit abroad. So always check that what type of test is required by the organization or the concerned authorities, and then apply for the IELTS.
Okay, which one do you recommend, paper-based or computer-based IELTS?
Well, both options are available in most of the parts of the world. Paper-based IELTS is also available, and computer-based IELTS is also available. It depends upon what you are familiar with. In the paper-based IELTS, you get a question booklet, and you can answer all the answers over there. The audio is played definitely on the electronic equipment, but you have paper in your hand and you answer the questions on the paper. It's ball filling, like we do most of the time in GRE or other tests. Even NTS in Pakistan uses the same method, the ball filling method. So that is applied in the paper based test. And I think most of the people in around our surroundings, they are habitual of reading from paper books. So they have this habit of having a paper or a book in their hand and reading it from there, and they usually hold a pencil in their hand and they highlight different things. And if that process is disturbed, they sometimes get confused. So I recommend that if you're more habitual of reading or writing on a paper, then IELTS, paper-based IELTS is better for you because you're more familiar with the techniques of reading from a paper. But some people have most of their education from electronic media. They have taken online lectures and they are habitual of reading articles online. So their online reading speed is faster as compared to their offline or paper reading speed. And they're highly familiar with all the tools online. So for these people, IELTS computer-based IELTS is better because computer-based IELTS give you faster results. Like within a week or even sometimes 2-3 days, you'll get your result. Whereas if you are taking IBT, the paper-based, then you'll have to wait for 14 days and sometimes a little bit more to receive your results. So go for the IELTS paper-based test if your education is paper-based. If you're more convenient, more comfortable with paper-based testing system, you're habitual of holding a pencil, reading it, and then erasing and then making all the notes, scribbling the notes. If you're habitual of all those things, then it's good for you to go for IELTS paper based. But if you're comfortable online, if you're comfortable with the things on the screen, then it's good that you go for a computer based one because the result will be achieving faster. So yeah. And now they're introducing another type of files the type of files that you'll be able to take while sitting at home because of this corona situation. And yeah, for that you need to be very much acquainted with electronic systems and e-learning because they'll be monitoring you through a screen and all the tests will be displayed. So I recommend those who are going to attempt those tests, please take the practice tests which are available on British Council website, and do not go without practicing because it's an expensive test.
And I want to ask about the scores. Is there any difference between the paper-based IELTS and computer-based, or they are same?
Well, scoring criteria is completely same. It's just that IELTS General and IELTS Academic have slightly different scoring criteria. For example, for IELTS Academic, you'll score a band 7 if you have 34 out of 40 in your reading module. Whereas if you're going for IELTS general, then you have to have some 35 marks out of 40 in order to have a band 7. So criteria is slightly different in academic and general marking of reading modules. Otherwise, if you're going online or you're going paper based, there is the marking criteria is exactly same. There is no difference. So we will be discussing about the assessment criterias, and because the coming sessions are, we will be discussing each module in deep detail. So we'll be discussing all the criterias over there as well.
Okay, so how should I start my preparation for IELTS?
Well, this is the most common question that I get from the people. And in fact, sometimes they just ask me that I want to take IELTS. What do I do? Okay, so yeah, it seems confusing because all of a sudden, when you decide that you have to take IELTS, you have 4 modules: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So people do get confused that from where do I start? So I always say that whenever you are going to appear for any test, the first thing is you should do your self analysis or self evaluation. That tells you that where do you actually stand. Like we say in Urdu, kitne pani mein hai, that kind of stuff. That how much you have to prepare. So it is quite convenient to see that where do you stand in your listening or reading modules, because sample papers are available online. They are available on British Council website as well. So download the sample paper for listening test and for the reading test, and attempt those tests. And then you have a marking criteria. Like I told you that usually most of the time band 7 or 7.5 is required. So you need to have somewhat 36 out of 40 marks in your listening and reading module to have 7 bands. And you also have to check that you solve the test within the given criteria of 1 hour. If it is the reading module, then you have to solve the whole module in 1 hour. And if you're taking the listening test, well, then you cannot take more time than what is given to you. You're just given half an hour and you have to complete your test in half an hour. So in this way, you can use self-analysis, solve the complete test and see how many correct answers are there. If you are attaining 35, 36 marks out of 40, it's really good. It means you are on band 7. And if you want to go for band 8, then you are near your target. Like you just have to improve a band. Although, according to the rough estimate that I have, in order to go from band 7 to band 8, you still require 2 months, because it's a hard process. Language is habit formation and habits take time. So it takes a lot of time. So self evaluation is the first thing that I recommend to anyone. Also, Language House provides you free self assessment for your writing module. Writing is the most difficult module, and most of the people, they get stuck with the writing module because they are not familiar with the pattern of IELTS essay. So Language House offers you free opportunity. You can just write your essay and send it to IELTSwithsana@gmail.com, and you will get free evaluation of one essay. So we tell you that where you lack and what's your current band, and then you can estimate your time depending upon what's your learning speed, how fast you make habits. So usually it takes 2 months to improve one band in writing module.
Writing module. Okay, Sana, can you please share with us some free online resources for IELTS?
Well, there are many free online resources, and let me see if I can share my screen with you guys. Let me know. Can you see my screen, Hima?
Yeah, we are
Okay,
there.
that's good. Okay, so let me explain to you. Most of the people get stuck with having loads of resources. My opinion is that you do not need to have loads of resources. Choose 1 or 2 resources and then practice with them. If you keep on changing your resources, it's just like you're teaching, you're having different teachers for the same subject. And it takes time to get acquainted with one teacher. So this wastes a lot of time. The sources that I'm sharing, they are free of cost, and also they are the most authentic ones. So number one source that I always tell people about is IELTS with Liz. It is a website. It has material related to all the four modules: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Well, the disclaimer is that I do not work for Liz. I have no contact with her. It's just a resource which is free, and I found it very useful. And also her talking speed is slow and her style of teaching is very nice. That's why I tell everyone about this website. And what I really liked about this website is that she tells things in a very easy and simplified way, which is very close to British Council and University of Cambridge. British Council and University of Cambridge actually regulate the IELTS test. So her material, this website, the material on this website is very close to the original material produced by University of Cambridge and the British Council. So these are the two resources. First, IELTS with Liz, the website. It has a lot of teaching material. It is very authentic. You can use it for free. Second resource is the authentic British Council website. They have a lot of material related to IELTS. You can download material from there as well. There are lectures as well, sample test, practice material, everything is given over there. You can choose one of them. You do not need to go to the both websites. Just pick one of the sites, either British Council or IELTS with Liz, and start preparing from there. If you do not have a teacher with you, then I recommend going to Barron's IELTS book. That book guides you like a teacher. It has practice exercises. It just starts from the beginning. It tells you how to prepare for IELTS, the practice exercises, all the details, tips, tricks, and complete notes are available in this book. So if you do not have a teacher and you cannot access any center near to you to improve your language, this is your option. And yes, then there are a few apps. In fact, there are millions, gazillions, I think, of apps related to language learning and specifically IELTS. But as I mentioned in the previous section as well, that do not overwhelm yourself with multiple resources. Pick a few and then work with them. So on the screen, you can right now see that I have listed 5 apps. And in fact, this is a screenshot from my own mobile screen. So I personally use these apps. That's why I'm telling you guys that you can use it. The first one, which is IELTS Target Band 8. This will deal with 3 of your modules. It has listening exercises. Also, it tells you how to attempt spoken section of your interview, of your spoken module. It tells you about that. And it also tells you about vocabulary and phrases which you can use in IELTS. So this app will help improve 3 of your modules. You can use it. The second one is IELTS Vocabulary. This app is by Magoosh, and it has multiple levels of vocabulary. One thing that I'd like to clear for most of the people is that they think if we use very difficult words in IELTS, then we get a very good band. This is not true. You actually have to have the accurate vocabulary and expected vocabulary, the things which are appropriate to be used in the sentences of academic world. Those words give you good marks. You don't need to use difficult words from literature. And then the third app is IELTS Writing. This has a number of letters, IELTS Task 1 analysis paragraphs, and IELTS essays. And these are written according to IELTS Band 8 style. Very comprehensive, very good. And they match the style that IELTS with Liz tells you. That website tells you the style, and here you'll find loads of essays written in the same style. Then Merriam-Webster is a dictionary. And when you're learning a language or preparing for a language exam, I think it's very good that you have a dictionary with you. Whenever you find a difficult word, you just go to Merriam-Webster. This is abridged edition of the dictionary, and also it's free. And vocabulary will help you in all the 4 modules, in listening, in speaking, in reading and writing. So you should pay attention to having a very good vocabulary for the IELTS. The last app is Elsa Speak. This is an app where you can partner with different people and practice your spoken tests in case you do not have a teacher. So this will help you a lot. Elsa Speak. You can partner with different people, and all the sources that I've told you, they are completely free. Also, Language House PK on Facebook, on website or on Instagram, we have loads of free tips or small videos related to IELTS test. So all these resources are free. Also, you can join the course if you feel the need, but the sources that I've told you right now, all of them are completely free and I've personally used them. So they will be beneficial for you.
Okay, so Sana, what is the registration process?
Well, that's a very good question. First thing that I
Mhm.
recommend is that only when you are sure that you have completed your preparation, then go for the registration. Because it's an expensive test. Right now in Pakistan, it costs you 35 to 36,000 rupees just for the IELTS test without any preparation. If you want to take some preparation course, then the charges are separate. So I recommend that first complete your preparation and then go for the registration. In Pakistan, there are two options. You can either register with British Council or you can register with AEO. It's completely same, doesn't matter because both British Council and AEO both are regulated by University of Cambridge, and it's a very tightly regulated system. So it's not possible that there will be any relaxation for any of the two organizations. So the marking criteria is same, the test pattern is same, everything is exactly same. However, I do recommend that when you're going to take IELTS, you should see that which center is closer to your home, whether it's a British Council center or it is a AEO center, which center is closer to your home, because the test is going to be somewhat like 3.5 hours, and for identification and waiting purposes, it can be 4.5 hours. So it's really helpful if your center is near to your home and you can go to that place and come back easily. So and also look for the facilities which are provided at the center. Some of the centers do not give you headphones. So if you have prepared your listening module using headphones, then choose a center that provides you with headphone. You can, while you're doing the registration, you can ask them that whether there will be earphones in the test center or not. And if they do not provide you, then you should not register with that center. You should choose a center which is good and which looks for your demands. Also, if you have some problem, for example, you use hearing aid or yes, even blinds can take IELTS. So you have to mention that at the time of registration. There is an option given over there, or if you have some low glucose or fast metabolism and or sugar or anything, and you need to take anything during the test, so you have to mention that before you go to take the test. Or yeah, there are many rumors. People say that if you do it from British Council, it's better. If you do from AEO, it's better. But there is no difference. They are exactly the same. Both are regulated by University of Cambridge. Test pattern is same. Marking criteria is same. Everything is exactly same. Only look after the center where you are going to take the test. That what facilities the center is providing you and whether it's close to your home or not.
Okay, that was yeah. You actually answered my question. That there were several misconceptions between that among the students that the test conducted by British Council is way much more harder than the one which is conducted by AEO. So you have pretty much clarified it. So now this we have our question. Sana, what are the smart trip tips for IELTS?
Well, I'd like to share my screen.
Okay.
The first thing that I always tell people is that prepare for the test. Although I've been teaching IELTS for more than a decade, but
Mm-hmm.
even if I go to attempt IELTS, I prepare for a month or at least for 2 weeks. So practice makes a man perfect. and never ever go for a test without preparation. Also, some people just decide in the spur of the moment, like they decide that we are taking IELTS next week.
Yes.
So I will never recommend anyone to do this thing because the test is hard in the
Mm-hmm.
sense that you have to sit for 4 hours and think and practice language that you do not practice in your real life. So it's exhausting. Your language skills might be really good. Maybe your English is really good, but you've never sat for 4 hours like testing your English language. So that is a challenge, accept that. I recommend take as much time as you can for your preparation. If it takes 1 month or 2 months, give preparation that much of time. Because if you go without preparation, most of the people get really bad bands because they get tired during the test, or there are smart tips and tricks for each module that they do not know about, and they get stuck with different types of questions, though there are easier way of solving those questions. So I recommend first thing, practice, practice, practice. Practice makes the man perfect. Secondly, most of the people think that if they have consulted loads of resources, like if they are like every day they go to internet, they'll try to find another resource and learn from them. So do not learn from too many teachers. Choose one or two and follow them. Like every teacher tries to cover all the elements of IELTS test. So it might be happening that if you're choosing multiple teachers, that you're revising the same elements again and again. So I recommend choose fewer resources and then practice with them so that you have more time practicing instead of searching for different resources. Many students confuse searching for sources with practicing. So actual practice is something that is going to give you results. Spend more time on practicing than on searching or watching videos about IELTS. Practice the skill. Don't just sit and watch the videos. Then there is another thing I'd like to say, that watch the authentic sources, because there are
Hmm.
many
Yes.
courses around which I mean anyone can start teaching IELTS. Now it's the Instagram age and everybody has IGTV, so anybody can start making videos on YouTube and there is no license as such for teaching, and obviously it's very difficult for Facebook or Instagram to look for the fake teachers or to catch them. So look for the authentic resources, authentic teachers, and yes, one thing that I'd like to mention, you might find some pages on Facebook or Instagram which say that you do not need to take tests and give you certificates. So remember that this is not true. It's never ever possible for you to take a test or take a certificate by British Council or University of Cambridge without taking the test. So if any authority is offering you such a service, please do not believe them. It's not possible. The IELTS certificate, original IELTS certificate, is only provided by British Council AE or University of Cambridge. No third party can give you a certificate for IELTS. It is not recognized anywhere. There might be something fishy about it. Then having a teacher is better. It makes your journey easier and faster. Because if you're learning from websites, you still might be making a few mistakes in your practice, but there will be no one there telling you that you're making these mistakes and you should correct them. Specifically, your spoken and your writing module need a teacher. So it's better to have a teacher. If you have lower than 7 marks in your initial evaluation, then it's better to have a teacher and do a proper course with a teacher who can tell you that you have to correct these things. With websites, it's just one way. So there is a chance that you will be spending more time and not gaining good results. Then another thing is that get accustomed with the type of questions in each module. Sometimes people become overconfident and they're like, "Oh, we have really good English. We speak so good. We've been doing this much. We have studied every subject that we ever studied in English language, so we have very good command over English language." But the thing is, how many times your English language has been tested? So get accustomed with the types of question. There are like 5 6 types of questions in each module. Get accustomed with them, means practice them and understand the sort of question. In the coming sessions we'll be discussing the types of questions for each module in detail and sharing all the tips and tricks related to that. Then yes, as I've told before, that choose a center that is near to your home, because test is going to be some 4 hours or maybe 4.5, or maybe longer than that if you have to wait for your spoken test as well. So choose a center that is near to your home so that you can easily, conveniently take the test without getting tired. Remember, language is severely affected when you are tired or when you are in an emotional. If you're going through a very emotional or an emotionally vulnerable state, do not take IELTS because you're going to score really bad. Emotions affect your language learning. Then, yes, some people ask me, should we follow British accent or American accent? The thing is, English is second language for most of the people who speak that. So they can neither speak British nor American. They have their own accent. However, all the accents, British, American, Australian, Indian, are acceptable by IELTS authorities, IELTS taking authorities. So it doesn't matter. You do not need to change your accent. Whatever is your natural accent, it should be legible. It should be understandable. That's perfectly fine. And if you follow British English, then write all the spellings of the British English. And if you're following American, then use all the spellings used by the American English. This I would say. Vocabulary, pay attention to vocabulary because that will improve all the 4 modules, right? It will enhance your language knowledge. It will help you improve all the 4 modules of the test. So pay special attention to your vocabulary. This is my takeaway for all of you from this
Okay,
session.
Sana, I have one very interesting question. You were saying that a student, once he or she is ready, should take IELTS. But
Hmm.
like, if I'm preparing myself, at what time, at what instant, I would be confident enough that okay, now I'm well prepared. Like, how to self check ourselves, or what is the perfect time that one can know that now I am ready and now I should take the test? What is that perfect time?
Well, for listening and reading, the grading module, the grading sheet is available where it tells you that if you are scoring uh, 30, then you are on band 6. If you're scoring 34, you are on band 7. So that band translating sheet is available on the website of British Council. You can just download that sheet or just take a snapshot of it and keep it in your mobile phone. Then keep on conducting the tests. I think we have the books. Yeah, there is the book. These are the
Mm-hmm.
authentic papers, IELTS papers. It's published by University of Cambridge. Oh, sorry, it's mentioned over here. So this is the books. These books are published by University of Cambridge, and every year they publish one of the books. The latest is IELTS 15. There are 4 X papers, X exam papers in each book, whether academic or general, and you should attempt those tests. They will tell you that what band currently you're on. So if sitting in the comfort of your home you're having a band 7, then chances are that you can score the same band in the test as well. This is for listening and reading. If you have if you score 35 out of 40 in both your modules, then it means that you are on band 7, and you have completed your preparation for it. For spoken, yes, you can practice, and for spoken, you do need a teacher to tell you whether you are on the required band or not. In the coming sessions, I'll be giving you more tips and I'll be discussing the assessment criteria and the sheets. You can get an idea whether you make those mistakes or not, but the best thing is you can record your own interview, you can record your own voice, you can record your own speech pattern, and then you can open the sheet, the assessment criteria given by the British Council, and check whether you are making the mistakes or not. So this is the only way you can do it. But if your language is not very advanced, I recommend go for a teacher who can tell you that. Same goes for IELTS writing module. IELTS writing module is tricky to assess yourself. So for that, I recommend always take your sample test, take your sample writing to a teacher. They can explain to you whether you are scoring a good band or not. So this is how you can check. Otherwise, British Council also gives you practice test, but that is
Mhm.
expensive. It is 14,000. You'll have to pay 14,000 rupees, and then you can take a sample test. I mean, they'll tell
Okay.
you which score you're on, but it's expensive. So best alternative is Language House. You can they offer you free evaluation for writing, and for spoken you'll have to have a little fee, and you can book your session with them. So you'll get a
Okay.
complete evaluation of whatever band you're on.
Sana, one more thing, one very important thing. Although it is not in the, it is not a thing most of the people discuss. But as you told us that the IELTS test is of 4 hours, so your English might be good, but sometimes you won't be like concentrating. So how one can improve his concentration? Like, are there any tips for this thing? Although I am good, brilliant in every section, but I don't have that capacity to like sit for 4 hours and just tolerate this all pressure. Are
Yeah.
there any tips for this thing?
Yeah, there are tips. The tip is that take all the four modules or at least three of them at a stretch. Like if you're practicing, then practice the listening module. After that, open the reading one and then do writing after that. So if you do it in the real time, if you, while practicing your test, if you follow this routine, that you practice all the three modules at a stretch, one after the other, then chances are that you'll be able to perform really good in your test. So, this is the tip. Most of the people who do not score very good in their first IELTS exam without a teacher is because they practice all the modules separately. Like one day they'll be doing listening, the other day they'll be doing reading, the other day writing, and one day they'll be practicing spoken. So, this is not the way. You have to do all the four modules in one stretch. That is
Okay.
practice, and that is the way you can have a very good band. Also, I recommend that save your energy. Do not spend too much of your energy in listening. Relax, take long breaths. You can take a water bottle with you, continuously take small sips. Do not
Mhm.
like overexert yourself. You'll have loads of people with you at the center. Don't involve in the deep conversations, or you'll be losing your energy over there. When you go for the IELTS, take a very good breakfast, your favorite breakfast, whatever you like. Take a good healthy breakfast. Most of the people, they go without breakfast, and even before the test has started, they just lose all their energy. So also I recommend wear something comfortable and something that makes you feel confident and look good. When you're looking good, your confidence level goes up, and most of the people, when they are looking good and are confident, perform really good. In fact, there is research on language learning and language production which says that language learning is directly proportional to your confidence level. The people who are confident are more fluent in language, and people who suffer a little by the lack of confidence, they usually find problem learning language. So take care of your confidence. That will boost your language learning and language expression as well.
So I think we have pretty much covered all the topics of today's session. We will be discussing is listening tomorrow, speaking day after tomorrow, reading and writing. We will be discussing all those sections day by day. Today was IELTS journal. It was for the people who think they want to take IELTS but they don't know how to register themselves for IELTS. So I think we have covered all the important topics of today's session. Now it's the time to take questions from the audience. So a very good question from one of the student. He is asking, what is the difference between IELTS exam and TOEFL exam, and what do you think? Which one is easy?
Well, usually I've seen that people get better results in TOEFL. The difference is that TOEFL is usually required by American or Canadian organizations or universities. If you're applying abroad, As I told you before, your concerned authorities will tell you that which test they accept. IELTS has a wider acceptability. Most of the organization they prefer IELTS, or some also accept Pearson's test. That's also acceptable. So there is a wide range of tests. TOEFL is also one of them. IELTS is one of them. Pearson's test is one of them. There are a few other tests as well, but it depends upon which test has been recommended by the organization you are working with. And IELTS is mostly acceptable around the world, and most of the organizations accept this test. Also, IELTS scores can be translated into other test scores. So that is why this is the most recommended one. So yes, there is no as such difference between IELTS and TOEFL. Only the organization that you are taking the test for can tell you which test they'll accept. Otherwise, they are same four language skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing, which are tested in IELTS, and the same four skills are tested in TOEFL. And types of questions are very similar as well. In IELTS, you get bands, and in TOEFL, your score will be in numbers, like around
Number.
80, 85, 90 is a good acceptable score.
Okay, I think we have one more question. This Muhammad Mushtaq, he's asking, once passed IELTS with 7 plus band, how much time it is valid? I guess he's asking for the validity of IELTS.
IELTS. Once you've taken the IELTS, so the time you receive your result, from that date till the next 2 years, your test results will be valid. So
Okay.
2 years your IELTS is valid.
Oh, one more last question. Oh, not last question. Important question. How much does IELTS cost? What is the cost of IELTS these days?
In several regions, IELTS cost is slightly different. There can be a difference of 1 to 2,000 rupees, but generally it costs you around 36,000, 36, 37,000. If you're taking it from Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, or Peshawar, there can be slight difference in the IELTS fee, but the average is 36,000.
Okay, so the people who are wants to take IELTS should be like way much careful because it's very expensive test.
Yes.
Okay, we have one more question from Misha Khalid. She is asking, is it true if you have A or B grade in your English Cambridge exam, you don't need to take IELTS?
For immigration, no. Even if you are the king of a different part of the world, you will have to take IELTS for immigration purposes. However, it's possible that there might be some specific kind of degree which can waive off your IELTS. Or some universities in UK, they conduct their own IELTS or their own language exam that is very similar to IELTS exam, but they conduct it themselves. So, but there are very few universities which do that. Otherwise, you have to take IELTS. Best thing is you can ask your university whether they'll accept it or not. Usually, you have to take the IELTS. There is no redemption, or there is no way that you can go without IELTS. Um, that's not true for most of the cases.
Okay, there is one more question. He's our home. He's asking, Salam, IELTS is being held in lockdown, like online? I guess we have answered this.
You'll
But
have to check in your own area. In some areas, they have started taking IELTS again. In some parts of the world, you can even go to the center and take the test. It's compulsory to have a mask. In I think in Pakistan from 2nd June they'll start taking tests in the centers. Otherwise, you can go from stay at home IELTS. You can take that test as well. If it's very urgent for you to take IELTS test, then they'll be monitoring you through the screen, and you can take IELTS test while sitting at your own home.
okay, so Noman Afridi is asking which one you prefer, computer-based test or paper-based test? I guess we have answered this, but
Yeah,
you can answer this as well.
so basically, you can take whichever type of test you are more acquainted with. If your education was paper based, if you are more into reading paper based books and you're habitual of underlining things and scribbling answers in the corners, then I think paper based is the best option for you. But if you're habitual of reading online, most of the time you read articles or things online, and you're very comfortable with e-learning and e-tools, then e-learning is your way. Because if you take computer based IELTS, your result will come in 1 week, or even maybe even faster than that. So, but it depends upon what you are more comfortable with. If you're comfortable with online, then go for the online computer based IELTS. If you are comfortable with paper based, then wait and attempt the paper based test.
Okay, so now we have one more question from Sharik Shadab. He's asking, kindly list down the IELTS app you shared earlier. So I guess they can, once this session is ended, they can like scroll back, and this
Yes.
would be a recorded version, and they can check the apps. Or you, if you want to like name them, you can just tell the names of those apps.
Or maybe I'll post in the comment reply of the comment. I'll post the names or links
Okay.
to the apps in the comment reply. Right?
Okay, I think this was all the comments we got from our audience, and I think we are pretty much completed. We now it's time to say goodbye to everyone. And one last question I just came across is that does Language House, the one which you are looking after this, you are the CEO of this language house, they also help the students for TOEFL, or it's just IELTS?
Yes, we do help people with TOEFL as well. Currently,
Mm-hmm.
there are very few students for TOEFL who are working with us, but yes, we
Mm-hmm.
help people with TOEFL as well. We do.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I would take a leave and would say goodbye to our audience. We will be coming online at the same time, 10 p.m. And tomorrow our session is about listening. So if you have any question about listening test, IELTS listening part, so you can just ask us, and we will be giving you answers one to one. Okay, thank you so much, Sana, for sparing your time and for our audience.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank yous on my part. Thank you so much for giving me a chance, and it was fantastic answering all your questions.
Okay, I guess a few students are asking some more questions. Like, do you want to take last question, Sana, before we just end our broadcast?
Sure, why not? Please go for it.
Engineer Asim Saeed Khan is asking, is there any benefits of having an IELTS certificate with 5 band, but that is no more valid?
Well, if your test has expired, then you cannot present it anywhere. No organization is going to accept that. So, IELTS is usually a legal requirement. So, an expired certificate is not accepted by any legal firm or any legal entity. So, no, there is no benefit of having an expired IELTS certificate. um, and if you're talking about whether 5 is a good band or not, so it depends upon what is your purpose. For immigration purposes, you need to have at least band 7 or 7.5 in each module. And for most of the jobs abroad, you also need to have band 7 or above. Yeah, for some jobs like maybe a receptionist, not even a receptionist, some very lowly jobs, they sometimes they accept band 7. For skilled labor, maybe they might accept a band 5, but otherwise band 5, usually organizations do not accept band 5. Universities and organizations do not accept band 5. You need to have 6 plus band.
Okay, so this was the last question. Okay, now we would take leave from you all. Good night, Shabba Khair. Have a Ramadan Kareem Mubarak, and we would be going offline. Bye bye. Khuda
Allah.
Hafiz.